This is Hino's Sport, bringing you that heat and that far. We keeping the foot on the what on the next. We keeping the foot on the what on the next. And like the Tibetan Mastiff that I am, I'm applying what? Unlimited pressure. Because pressure does what? It bursts its pipes. Let's talk about it, man. Errol the True Spence will beat the cinnamon dust out of Canelo Alvarez. Let me say it again. Errol the True Spence will beat the cinnamon dust out of Canelo Alvarez. Here's the cold-hearted, here's the unadulterated, and here's the cutthroat television. When we look at Canelo Alvarez, he is a smoke and mirrors Mexican fighter. Errol the True Spence is an elite black fighter. Errol the True Spence is an airfield fighter. The last airfield fighter that dominated Canelo Alvarez, that washed, double wash, and triple wash his ass was Floyd Money Mayweather. Airfield fighters, they do one or two things. They wash, they double wash, or they triple wash your ass. Let me say it again. Airfield fighters do one or two things. They wash, they double wash, or they triple wash your rabbit ass. Canelo Alvarez is petrified. He is literally scared of elite black competition because he knows at his truest and his most properest levels, he can't fight with elite black competition. He knows that elite black fighters will expose him because one issue with Canelo Alvarez is his stamina is shit. When he fought Floyd Money Mayweather, Floyd Mayweather knew this intel. This is why Floyd Mayweather drained his ass. When they say something, when they use the terminology, I'm gonna drain your ass in boxing, the terminology is basically the equivalent of basically saying I'm gonna take your ass to deep waters. Basically, I'm going to take you to where you've never been taken. Floyd knew this, and this is why he was able to napalm Canelo Alvarez. Where Errol the True Spence is the Energizer Bunny, dog. He keeps going and going and going and going. He's the body snatcher 2.0. Everybody keeps getting caught up on Canelo Alvarez's body work. Canelo Alvarez is a great body puncher. I'm not going to say that. If there's anything great that he does, is fucking body work. He knows how to place the hell out of that motherfucker. I'll give him that. But he's number 2 when it comes to Errol the True Spence. Because Errol the True Spence is a Mr. Tactical Aggression, technical puncher placement, and body snatching work, the levying onslaught, the punishment style. There's a reason why he's a conglomerate of those terms. And the reason being is because Errol the True Spence invests completely. He invests totally, and he invests utterly in the fucking body. Let me say it again. Errol the True Spence invests completely. He invests totally, and he invests utterly into the body. Canelo Alvarez only does this shit in fucking flashes, whereas Errol the True Spence is doing this throughout the whole fight. And remember the terminology in boxing: off with the body, off with the body, off with the body, and then off with the fucking head. This is what Errol the True Spence will do to Canelo Alvarez. I don't give a fuck how big a boxer you think he is. Floyd Mayweather was basically wet, dripping, barely 152 pounds. And he solar plexed the fuck out of Canelo Alvarez. And Canelo Alvarez was 175. That's a 23. Matter of fact, Floyd Mayweather's barely 152. It's probably 151 that night. That's a 24-pound differential. And Floyd was able to slow his ass down with the solar plex. Floyd ain't as powerful as Errol the True Spence. He don't got the punching resistance that Errol the True Spence has. This is what these Rudy Poo and Plum Plum brains don't get. This is what these classic Dolce and Troglodytes don't get. This is what these ultra fanboys with the ultra fanboy rhetoric don't get. Plus, Errol the True Spence defense is sharp as fuck. Errol the True Spence proved that his defense is sharp, just like Floyd Mayweather, dog. That he catches everything coming, and he could fucking catch everything on the fucking mitt. Errol the True Spence parries fucking punches, man. You saw this shit in the Danny Garcia fight. Canelo Alvarez's power, and I'm gonna say this shit because motherfuckers gonna be like, what? Canelo Alvarez's power is a tad bit overrated. It ain't Danny Garcia overrated, but it's a tad bit overrated. Because he had an opportunity to prove to us that he could knock motherfuckers out. And what has he done at his truest and his most properest levels? He ain't been able to knock nobody the fuck out. You know why? Because Canelo Alvarez's power is a tad overrated. So don't give me that bullshit and that fuck shit that Canelo Alvarez is what you think he is. The motherfucker is smoke and fucking mirrors, man. And Errol the True Spence via tactical aggression, technical punching placement, and body snatching work, the levying onslaught, the punishment style. He will beat the shit out of Canelo Alvarez. He will beat the cinnamon dust out of his ass. That's the cold-hearted. That's the unadulterated. That's the cutthroat truth teller fashion. You want to know how you beat Canelo Alvarez? It's 3 things. You train his fucking ass, take his ass to deep fucking waters, which is what Errol the True Spence can do in league and fucking droves. Because remember, he's the Megalodon shark. The Megalodon shark has no predator. It is the predator. You basically drain the fuck out of Canelo Alvarez in terms of his stamina, because Canelo Alvarez's stamina is shit. So all you got to do is basically take his ass to championship rounds. Well, you would say that's the same as taking him to deep waters. Actually not. Because when you take somebody into the championship rounds, it's about mental. See, this is the part that I'm talking about here. Draining their fucking ass is a physical thing. Errol the True Spence will do that via body assault. But taking his ass to championship rounds, that's a mental thing that Errol the True Spence will do. He will mentally whip Canelo Alvarez's cinnamon dust ass into shape. And then the third thing, Errol the True Spence will just basically be out athleticing and out basically showcasing his physical attributes over Canelo Alvarez. Because you got to remember, Canelo Alvarez is limited by his Mexican genetics, whereas Errol the True Spence has the black genetics. That's the cold-hearted, that's the unadulterated, and that's the cutthroat true telebasher. I keeps the foot on the whoop on the X. I keeps the foot on the whoop on the X. This is Henos the Sport. Checking out.